Welcome to Session 10 in the audio series Overcoming Social Anxiety Step by Step. Many people become excited as the deserving statements become stronger and more believable to them. In fact, one of the statements you have been working on this past week may be beginning to click in your mind. At least it may be starting to bring up some very interesting questions. For example, I do have the right to be myself, don't I? I don't have to try to please everyone, do I? I can say no to people when they pressure me to do something I don't want to do, can't I? I do deserve to be happy and enjoy life, don't I? I don't need to make excuses for my behavior, do I? Maybe I just need to be me and forget about what anyone else thinks. I have never worked with anyone who had social anxiety disorder without other complications, who was prideful, arrogant, or nasty. So don't worry that the deserving statements are going to turn you into a selfish individual. They will not do that. What they will do is allow you to realize that you most certainly do deserve to be happy, living in the present moment, and not concerned with others' ideas and opinions about you. Why? Because you are fine just the way you are. If other people don't like you without a justifiable reason, there must be something wrong with them. As you read the deserving statements over to yourself each day, see if you can get in touch with their feeling, their strength, and their power, as well as their mental cognitive elements. As you continue to reinforce these beliefs that you so rightfully deserve, you will start to feel these beliefs as opposed to just having this thought pop up and run through your mind. You do deserve to be happy. You deserve to feel content. You have the right to live in the present moment and enjoy yourself. These core fundamental beliefs are rights we want you to keep reading daily. Listening to last week's tape would also be helpful as a review. When I was in what I call the worst years of my social anxiety, I knew I had these rights, but I didn't feel that I had these rights. As I got better, these feelings became stronger, and I learned I could say no to others when it was appropriate, and I could refuse to get involved in situations that were negative and unhealthy for me. In fact, I had the strength and power all along. It was only those old ants' thoughts and the inhibition they bring along with them that prevented me from seeing myself accurately and realizing what I could do realistically. Last week, we spent a little time discussing our feelings and why thinking about them continues to trap us and keep us stuck in the vicious cycle of anxiety. Feelings are liars many times too, and trying to figure out every last little detail about these feelings is an exercise in futility. It only makes things worse. So we learn to stop the automatic negative thinking and stop trying to figure out why we have these anxiety feelings. Dwelling on this keeps us trapped, entombed, and immobile. We need to stop the thinking and start the doing. During the years that social anxiety ruled my life, I remember how hard it was to meet other people, to try to keep a conversation going, and sometimes just to respond to another person's questions when I was feeling so down and out of it. In my mind, I felt I was inferior, that I was not as important as other people. At the time, I would have said, I'm just no good. Nothing ever works out for me. It wasn't a belief I even debated. It was something I accepted as solid fact. I was no good at meeting other people. I was no good at keeping conversations going. And I was no good at simply saying hello to people if I felt out of it. In fact, I could just generalize and say I felt I was no good. I didn't think it was possible for me to get any better. I thought I was the only one in the world and that I was a hopeless case. The thoughts that constantly attacked me about what I saw as my inadequacies were my own worst enemy. Put another way, I was my own worst enemy. Because of my belief that I was no good, I had defeated myself before the battle ever began. It was hard for me to quiet down the inner negative thoughts. The ant's thoughts ran in my mind constantly. What will this person think about me? They'll notice my anxiety, and they won't like me. I could try to get to know them, but after a while they'll see the true me, and then they won't like me, so why even try? I'm just no good. I'll never have any friends. These old automatic negative thoughts of mine remind me of a big bullying liar. As I look back, the situations I used to find so difficult are situations I don't even think about anymore. Introductions don't bother me. I don't even think about them. If someone chooses not to like me, too bad, tough luck. It's their loss. But I don't expect that to happen anymore. Actually, I'm a pretty likable guy, and I expect people to like me and respond favorably to me. What happened? At some point, I finally stopped letting those ants' thoughts bully me into the ground. All they ever did was lie to me anyway, over and over again, year after year. For over 20 years they lied to me, and worst of all, I believed them. Since I believed them, you can see why I didn't get any better. Because of my own experience, I do not have a better way to express these ants' thoughts except as big, bad, bullying liars. When I use the word bully, that is exactly what I mean. They lied to me and bullied me. I allowed myself to be scared by them. But they were liars. They never told the truth. And I believed these lies for over 20 years. They are trying to do a number on you too. They are trying to pull you down and rake you over the coals. But we are not going to let them do this anymore. The more you understand this, and the more you act upon it, the more you don't have to fall into their trap. You may ask me, well, why do you call them bullying liars? I call those old thoughts of mine bullying liars because I was able to introduce myself. I was able to take part in conversations, and I was able to mix in comfortably with a group of people. I was always capable of doing that. The ants' lies in my head, however, told me I was not. And the more I doubted myself and believed them, the more I allowed what they said to come true. I started to be afraid of talking to other people, and it all led downhill from there. But those were bullying lies. I didn't have to accept them. I wish someone had pointed that out to me at the time. But there was no help for social anxiety in those days. Our next handout deals with the bullying our ants' thinking can do. It is called How We Handle Those Bullying Liars. Please follow along with me as I read this handout to you. Automatic negative thoughts are always irrational liars. Here's how we handle those bullying liars. When those bullying thoughts pop into your mind, say, wait a minute. I'm having those automatic negative thoughts again that are not true. In fact, they're bullies. They try to scare me. I know they are not healthy or helpful to me. I am determined to move in a better direction and turn my back on those lying ants. Then we use the worksheet in front of us to list the bullying lies that are the most troublesome for us at the time. Remember, the ants are always pathological liars. They are bullies by nature and by definition. That is the way they live and operate. If they can bully and scare you, they just grow stronger. They can never tell you the truth. Their only hope is to be scary and depressing. They try to bring you down, rip up your self-esteem, cause you anxiety, and make you feel like everything is hopeless. But they are lying to you again. You can choose to move in a better direction. Therefore, these are the rational, honest answers to those lying ants' thoughts. In number 1, for example, I would have listed, I feel I am just no good around other people. Now that's a real general statement, and I can break it down into smaller parts, but it will work just fine for our example. Now what's the purpose in writing this down? Only because I have a replacement thought I want to get into my brain, so that every time the bullying ants thought pops up, I can recognize it, call it a bullying liar, and replace it with my new healthy thoughts. My answer is, boy, you exaggerated that one. Sometimes I do have anxiety about social situations, but that does not make me worthless. In fact, a lot of people like my quietness. I am going to gently work toward being a little more expressive in social gatherings, but I am a fine person just the way I am.